All right, so I'm going to continue my interview with Nui Auctioneer and Brian Davis, real estate agent. Um, Nui, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you, what is the first piece of education that you received in the auction business?
Um, it's hard to bring out the first piece,
Well,
but
let's talk about what piece of formal education that you do. Let me simplify this. What's the formal education that you received in the auction business? What happened?
I would say that being persistent is one of the very important principle that you hold on. Because there are lots of noises in the world, and there are lots of people who would try to pull you out of the way, distract you, and take you down. I think it's important that you stick to what you're doing. You just keep aiming to your goal. Be persistent. Keep on going. It's you set your goal. Setting goals is important. And what you're doing each day, each moment, you're trying to move forward to where you're reaching to your goal. And keep on doing it every single day, morning, evening. You prospect in the morning, in the afternoon you continue doing it, and at the end you analyze, you conclude of what you have done, and was it successful day? Was it achievable? Or like, were you successful in that day? But
So
yeah,
you relate persistence in what you're doing now, just like you did when you were in school and going back to your college days. You stated earlier that you were training, but you were also in school.
yeah,
You had to have the mind of persistence to be able to do this,
yes,
right?
yes. I think it's really important. I don't think it doesn't matter which business you are in, but especially in this auction business in real estate where there are lots of competitors, and an auction is something that is consistent. Involves a lot of improvisation. So anything could happen. There could be any distraction or problems or issues happen, but then you have to stick to it and just aim to what you're actually doing.
So when you come when you get to work every day, what's one of the number one questions auctioneers ask?
That auctioneers
What do
ask.
we ask as auctioneers? What do we ask our clients? What do we ask our prospects?
We would ask, I would say number one question, we would say, what are the issues?
What are the issues? I
Yeah,
mean, you know what? And people say that's a crazy question, right?
yeah.
But unless you find out what the issues are, you're never going to know what.
A lot of times you don't know, just on the traditional side, a lot of times you don't know what the issues are until you run into the issue in
You run
the
into the issue
process,
at the
in the
closing table.
yeah, at the closing table, or maybe right before the closing table, and you're like, oh wow,
We didn't know about this.
yeah, we didn't know about this, and that's happened a lot, a lot.
So, Nui, when you've been to drama school, you've been to English school. What other school did you go to?
Recently, I just went to auction school.
Tell everybody where you went at auction school. Tell everybody
Sure.
in the world where you went, and then what did you think about auction school?
Yeah. Starting in May the 30th, I went to America's Auction Academy. And it was the 80-hour course. It was full day, starting at 8 a.m., finish at 6, 7 p.m. And it's intensive. We had 20 of us and, uncountable successful instructors. What I learned is that there are so many successful people in this world, and they all have different techniques, different tactics, and useful knowledge that they adapt into their business. We all do different things. I mean, they are similar business, but we have their own way of leading the business to become successful, and also making connection is what I feel like is also very important. 20 of us means I made 19 new friends.
That's right.
And so that would be friends forever, you know? We can connect and whatever we can help each other. I think that's what this school has the biggest impact on me. I I just made good friends, and I can adapt all that knowledge that I've learned not only in auction business, but it's in also daily life and how you would adapt the experience and what you have learned into what you want to grow and improve in the future in whatever you do.
So you learn how to be an auctioneer. Now, auctioneers have this thing called a chant. So that's part of the auction curriculum. So
Is that what it's called, a chant?
It's
The
called
chant.
it's called a chant. That's you
I
know,
never knew
people,
what to call it, but
people say, well, you're just talking fast, but there is a structure to the chant. So tell us about how that you begin to learn the chant. How did you begin to develop your chant?
Sure. They would have us. We have all of us start at the beginning. We stand up and make sure you're in good posture, and you would put your both of your palms open like you're asking for money, right? As an auctioneer,
that.
yeah, exactly. You're trying to ask for money, and then they would have number drills that we would practice. So, for example, you count. If you can count, you can be an auctioneer. Okay, you count starting
days I
from
can count, some
one.
days I
I
can't,
know,
so, yeah.
exactly. Sometimes it makes you nervous in front of a lot of people, and you're thinking, but be focused and count. You can count up to that, right? I mean, 1 to 2 to 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you move your palms as you ask each number. Like that. You just go up. Because
I
you
go
want more
1,
money.
2,
For example, 1, 2, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then
Okay.
you move your arms. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wow.
Now we can go 5 increments. Let's start with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40,
45, 50,
50,
55,
exactly.
60, 65,
70,
70, 75,
80,
80,
85,
85,
90,
90,
95,
95,
100.
100.
Now let's try down,
Oh, we're
backward.
going to do it backwards now.
Yeah, we have to try backward.
100 now.
95, 90, 85, 80, 75, 70, 65, 60, 55, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Good job.
So the
Good
art
job.
of auctioneering
Yeah.
is, I mean, you build speed through rhythm,
Yes.
but the most important thing that you learn as an auctioneer is to be clear with your numbers. If people are confused with the number,
They don't know
people
where to
won't
go, right?
bid.
They don't know what to do.
So when you start selling real estate
Yes.
like we do,
Right.
and you're asking, hey, 135, 145, 155. Brian, you'll notice a lot of times when I'm out on the ground and we're asking 565, 75, 85, I will come back and slow that down and say, hey, I'm at 575 asking for 585.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
with
Just
that,
to be
Just
clear.
to make it clear where you
You know,
are.
it's fun. It's fun to run through the numbers.
I was at an auction the other day. I just went out on a field trip, just checking it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, great auctioneer. I mean, very seasoned in the business, but you had a bidder that messed him up. You know, I mean, didn't mess him up, but the bidder messed up on his bid. You know,
And
and
it happens all the time, right?
I noticed. Yeah, it does happen all the time. I mean, we've had it happen before, but it's like that's where the auctioneer comes in, and you have an experienced auctioneer that goes, hey, where are we at? You know, and they come back and say,
Yeah,
hey,
that's
this
right.
is where we're at. Everybody's clear. Let's move forward from here.
The auctioneer,
You know?
make no mistake, the auctioneer is in control of this auction. That's the
Yes.
reason why we're charged with being the auctioneer. Now you have ring in the industry, they're called ringmen.
Ringmen,
Okay?
okay.
You know what? My good friend Paul Seabear took a survey, and there was a bunch of ladies standing here one day, and he says, "Hey, do you want to be called ring women? Do you want to be called ring men? Do you want to be called this?
Ring
You want to be called
person,
that?"
ring-
Oh, listen, it was a big discussion.
Oh, yeah, I bet it was.
Unanimously. I mean, right off the bat, the lady stood up and said, "We're ringmen. Let's get to work."
Wow.
Now, that's exactly what happened. So, Brian, you worked the ring as a real estate agent.
I do.
You know what?
yes.
I started working the ring listen, I worked the ring forever, and I still work the ring.
I enjoy working the ring,
So
actually. Yeah,
this is,
so, yeah.
anybody ever heard of the Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
Okay, and what was he famous for, Brian? I mean, what was he famous for? What was
Sell me that pen.
you know what? So this is what's going
Sell
to
me
happen
that
right now.
pen.
Nui, sell us this pen. You're on the floor now. Sell us the pen. Let's go.
Oh wow! Really?
Come on with it. Brian and I are going to be your ring men.
Let's go.
Oh my god! Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, look at this smart girl. We got a precise rolling ball black ink pen. Let's start with $5 bit, $5
Yeah!
now, 5 now, 10 now, 10. We give me
Yeah!
10, 10 now,
Let's go.
15, 15. We
Yeah!
give me 15, 15 now, 20.
15,
We
I got 20, I got 20
give me
right here.
20 now, 25. We give me 25.
It's a black
Now
roll.
30. We give me 30.
Yeah, right here.
35, 35. We give me 35.
What do you give? What do you give?
35?
Come on, man. Get
Yes.
on with it.
Now
Get on,
40.
man.
Now 40. Would you give me 40?
Let's
40.
go.
Yeah.
Right here.
40 now,
I got it
45,
right here.
45,
Yeah.
will you give me
We got it
45,
right here.
45, yes, now 50,
Yeah.
50, 50, will you give me 50,
Yeah.
50, now 55, will you give me 55, 55,
They're
55, will
running
you
down
give
the
me
hallway.
55,
Lexus is in.
55, yes,
Go.
now 60, will you give
Yeah.
me 60, 60,
75. I got
75, now
Let's
80,
go.
now
Yeah,
80, will you
good
give me
job.
80, will you give me
Yeah,
80,
I
80
got
now,
it, I
now
got it
80,
right
now
here.
80,
We got 85 right here.
I got 90
85
right
now.
here. I got 90 right here.
90 now, 95, 95, would you give me 95, would you give me
Yeah.
95, 95, 95 now, 100, 100, 1, 1, 100, 100, 100, 100 now, 15, 105, 105, 15, 15, would you give me 105, 105, would you give me 145, 105,
Get over here.
Are you in or out? In or out?
105, 105, would you give me 105? So, $100 to buyer number 1.
Buy
There
your
you go, buyer number
DAN. Let me tell you what. What other profession can you take this is $1.79 at the store.
That's right.
What other profession can you sell this pen? And what a magnificent job, Nui, on selling the pen. This is about interaction. This is about getting people involved. This is about knowing the value of something and see if you can exceed that value if you can.
And
Yes.
maybe knowing a backstory about that pen. Maybe Elvis Presley, that was his favorite pen,
You
you
know
know, or whoever, you know.
She
I don't
come
know.
right out of the gate and done exactly what they teach her in auction school. You describe what you're selling.
Right.
So coming back to what we do in the auction world all the time, we're describing what we're selling. We're taking a piece of real property. We're letting everybody know in advance. We're letting everybody know.
We want every detail out there. about that.
Every detail is
every
there.
detail.
The disclosures and everything else. How do you feel now about being an auctioneer, being in the business, Nui?
I think it's one thing that you can see is exciting, you know. Can you list of like numbers of how you could sell something that is so exciting like this? This is like what I've learned from drama major. It's kind of like, because everything is static. It's like it's entertaining. You don't just go shopping at the market. You don't go to stores just to pick up some pen. But what makes it fun to buy a pen is that the number, you have the drill, you have the ringman, you have like the noise, raising your hands, and especially if you can bid online, you know,
Bidding online.
you have everyone from everywhere. You can sell anything.
And no one's excluded. This
Yeah.
is one of the coolest things about what we're doing. This is an open market, and everyone, and you just said this, everyone from around the world. Now, you're a drama major, you're an English major, so if someone comes to the auction and you feel just a little bit hesitant, would you be able to help them in a language barrier situation to help them understand just a little more?
Yes, of course.
You know
Just
what?
ask questions.
This is so much about what the auctioneering profession is about right here. Now, we're going to close out this segment And this was a great interview. Sorry, Brian, I'm going to have to interview you later.
All right. That's
However, you know, I believe that the Wolf of Wall Street is going to be envious of this segment right here. All right? Sell me that pen. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this
we
is
know how to sell the pen. Yeah.
There we go. All right. We'll talk to you in the next round.
Okay.
Good job, guys.
See you later.